jumping straight in, and we're going to start off with our liquid latex. I'm just going to pour some out and get our tissue papers ready. So you're going to want to put your tissue papers, we'll make them into little circles the size of your horns, and then that was just me mapping out where I want my horns to go. So now I'm just placing a little bit of that liquid latex down as a base. To me, this was easier rather than to just place a tissue paper down first, because when I did it that way, the tissue paper wasn't sticking and it kept lifting up. So I just found out what worked best for me. So all you do is place tissue down, coat it with latex, place tissue down, coat it with latex. I did that about, let's see, 5 to 6 times, I believe. And then after that, I am going to go ahead and prime my face with my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Primer. And I'm going to take it down to my neck because we are painting ourselves red. So I was just trying to give myself a nice little barrier. Moving on to the paint. This was so much fun. So first of all, it took me forever to find this Wet n Wild paint. Like, they were sold out at all of my local Walgreens, but I finally went to like my 5th Walgreens and I found it. So I'm just taking this red shade from out of the Vivid Brights Wet n Wild palette, and I am just gonna go ahead and paint myself red. I was so nervous about this because I just had a feeling I was gonna turn red after I wiped it off. It wasn't that bad. I did get a little bit of stains, but it wasn't that bad, I promise. So this paint is pretty thick, so I think I only did 1 layer of the red paint. Some areas were a little bit light, so I did just go over a certain area, but pretty much 1 coat will do. Now I'm going to highlight my face, and I'm just going to take that pink shade from out of the palette. I wish I didn't use pink because I feel like later on you can see that I use pink. So I would just recommend using like a concealer with the red mix. But this is what I use, and now I am just blending that out. And I'm using all arts and craft brushes because you don't want to use real brushes that you actually work with every day because they will damage your brushes. Just know that. So yeah, I'm just blending everything out, and then after I go in with that, I am going to go ahead and cut my latex. So once again, I am placing my horn where I want it to sit to make sure that I cut the latex exactly in the right area. So I'm just going to take some scissors and pierce a little hole, and once I get a hole big enough for me to start pulling, so with the latex, since it's latex, it's like rubber, you can stretch it. So once you get that hole, all you have to do is stretch it, and stretch it until it gets that desired openness that you like, and then you can stick your horn inside. So in order for you to stick your horns in, I would just say coat your horn with some spirit gum. That's just going to ensure that they stay in place all night long. You don't want to be walking around and one of your horns pop out. So just make sure you stick it down with some glue. So I'm using spirit gum. Pretty much just explained exactly what we were just doing here. I was moving a little bit fast, so I'll let you watch for a quick second. Onto my eyes, I am going to be taking the Shayla Times ColourPop Perception Palette, and I'm just going to take the shade Revenge and buff that into my crease. So you're a devil, so your makeup can be hella blown out, messy, whatever you like. I wasn't going for a glam look in this tutorial, so if you're looking for glam makeup, this is not the video you should be watching. So once I get that blown out enough, I am then going to go in with Played Out just to create that smoky effect that we're going for. I originally wanted to do a black smoky eye, but I don't know what happened to that as I was creating this look. It didn't go in that direction. So after I add Played Out, I am then going to go ahead and add the shade on top of that. I'm first going to put it on with the brush, and then I'm going to pat it on with my finger just to intensify it. I'm going to smoke out my bottom lash line. So taking played out, I'm just going to sweep that underneath there. And then after I do played out, I believe I go in with Revenge to buff that out. And then after I buff it out with Revenge, I then place shade directly on the lash line. We're moving on to liner, so I'm taking my NYX Epic Ink liner in the shade Black, and I'm just going to give myself a nice little wing. I probably should have did a like super thick dark wing, but I don't know why I didn't do it. I guess because I wasn't focusing on the makeup in this look. I was just trying to focus on my horns and my red face paint. I didn't want to take away from that. So yeah, this is me just making a tiny little wing. And second of all, my wings have been sucking ass lately, so I really didn't want to mess up pretty much. So I'm just going to take this Morphe 35B palette and I'm going to set my face with that red eyeshadow, and I'm just going to pat it. I'm in fast motion, so it doesn't look like I'm going carefully, but just make sure you dab it on top of your face wherever you have that red paint. Moving on to our contour shade, I'm just going to take a regular black eyeshadow and I am just going to contour my face. It looks pretty harsh at first, but remember, since you do have cream paint on your face, you can just go over it with your paintbrush with the red on it to less intensify it. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's what's in my head, so we're gonna go with that. So yeah, so just carve out your cheekbones. You're a devil, so you want to have like a bomb contour. So don't be afraid to go like heavy with the black. Taking the same black eyeshadow, we're gonna go ahead and contour our nose. And you're pretty much just, you contour your face the exact same way you would contour your face every day. The only thing different with the nose part is I am taking it on top of my eyebrows instead of under my eyebrows. So yeah, just take your nose contour into your brows. Now I'm just going to set the entire face once again with my Dermablend setting powder, translucent powder, and that's just going to help ensure that everything does not move because it is a cream paint. You want to make sure you are not going to be slicking and sliling anywhere. We're going to highlight the face. I am taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sun Dip palette, and I believe this is the shade Summer. That was a tongue twister. I also recommend not overdoing it with the highlights because I did it and it did lighten up my red, and I feel like it turned it into pink. Now we're moving on to coloring the horns. So this part here is just going to give you the bruise effect, so it looks like the horns are coming directly from your forehead. So first I go in with red around the horns, then brown, and then black. And once you have that, you can add some more blood, but I'm going to add the blood at the end. And yeah, this is just going to make your horns look so much more real and like they actually hurt. Okay, moving on to lips. I'm going to take my MAC lip pencil in the shade Currant and just line my entire lips. So for this part, I wish I would have just lined my lips with Currant instead of going in with a matte liquid on top. But for now, in this part of the video, I am lining my lips, and then after I line my lips, I go in with a matte liquid lipstick, and it's from Smashbox, and the shade will be listed down below. I can't think of it right now, but it's a gorgeous burgundy shade, but I did not wear it. I pretty much wiped off that liquid lip and just filled in my lips with the lip pencil. So now I'm adding my scab blood, and to me, any blood look is not gonna look real unless you have scab blood. This is a Ben Nye scab blood. I got mine from Amazon. It's super amazing. I've had this for like 2 years now, probably going on 3, and this just brings any kind of scary look to life. So I definitely recommend scab blood. You always want to use like different types of blood because the more blood you use, the more realistic it looks. So now I'm just adding vampire blood and stage blood as well. And I do believe this is pretty much the entire look. I hope you guys enjoyed.